When you can stop, you don't want to. And when you want to stop, you can't. That's an addiction. Unfortunately, over the past 5 years, I have watched people that I love, including my sister and the father of my kids, really struggle with a drug addiction. Saying no to drugs can protect you and everyone connected to you. Over this speech, I will talk about how drugs are harmful to the user, your loved ones, and society, how being educated and aware of drugs is really important, and how you can save yourself years of physical, emotional, and mental damage. Drugs are detrimental. Drugs are connected to so many deaths in the US. They are not harmless. I know when sometimes you go see a doctor and you get drugs prescribed, sometimes they will say risk of overdose and an addiction. It's not there. The label's there for an important reason because people really can become attached and addicted to this. The body becomes dependent on such a substance that you regularly use. And with this repeated use, the brain changes in ways that really makes it easy to adapt to such an access of the substance. I know the National Center for Drug Abuse statistics states that accidental drug overdose is a leading cause of death among persons under the age of 45. Over 70,000 overdose deaths occur in the U.S. annually. And I know that number is actually pushing closer to 1 million here in the U.S. We see families torn apart. In the Journal of Medical Human Genetics, it states that an epidemic of narcotic addiction is emerging as the most serious clinical issue of the current generation as it ruins families, societies, and even countries. Addiction doesn't only depend on the person using, it also affects the members of the society. We are the collateral damage. People end up losing their families. People will end up losing, marriages are destroyed. People end up losing custody of their children. They end up losing their jobs, their homes possibly. An unknown quote says, drugs will take you farther than you want to go, keep you longer than you want to stay, and cost you more than you want to pay. The community is affected when drug use is a high rate. In cities that have a high drug rate, we can see a higher crime rate, higher violence, a higher rate in homelessness, a higher rate of lack of education. And when I think of this, to give you a visual, I think of current cities that we know and that we live by, which would be Yakima and it would be West Valley. And I think even just those two words, I think you yourself can identify which city is the one with a higher drug use, which you would see with a higher crime rate, violence rate, and lack of education, as opposed to West Valley, which would have a lower drug use, which comes with a lower crime rate, a lower violence rate, and a higher education rate. And I know also in the terms of the lower valley, we can think about Sunnyside and compared to maybe Prosper or Tri-Cities, and we can see that maybe Sunnyside is a higher drug use, where we see more homelessness, we see more drug use, a higher crime rate, violence, as opposed to Prosper or Tri-Cities. And I know even Sunnyside in itself, if you've been watching the news, there has literally been a shooting every day, which is ridiculous. So how do we win this battle? I think first we need to know that knowledge and awareness is key. I think acknowledge that we have an issue. Here in the US, here in America, we have a drug problem. Drugs have been taking the lives of too many loved ones, far too many, one too many. And the reality is that no one is immune to an addiction. Addiction does not care about race. It does not care about age. It does not care about religion, class, your profession. No one is immune to it. No one really wakes up and says, oh, today I'm going to be addicted to this drug. It just happens. And everyone thinks it's never going to be me until it is us. So let's talk about it. Talk about it with your family, talk about it with your children, with your friends, with your coworkers, anyone that you come into contact with or that you love. Let's bring awareness to this issue. A qualitative case study in addiction and health really states that education and raising awareness in addicted individuals can be effective in the field of self-control and consumption reduction. No one wants to see the people they love struggle with an addictions or see them lose themselves. So let's know our resources and use our resources. Help is available. Know where to get help. Know what services are around your community. And if you don't know, there is a national helpline. It's never too soon and never too late to get help. You don't have to chain yourself up. You can prevent and protect your state of mind and your future. Drugs really can diminish your health. We can see damage done to the organs, to your heart, to your brain, to your lungs, to your liver. Diseases such as heart disease or HIV or even possibly cancer. It can also affect your physical look, your weight, your appearance, whether that be your teeth, your skincare. I know a few people who have struggled with drug addiction, who have lost their teeth, who have maybe felt like there's itching on their face, on their body, that they end up scratching it. It turns into scabs, that turns into scars. Emotions can also become a negative roller coaster, and our emotions change. I know we can go from feeling happy to sad to depressed to lonely to anxiety. And if we're honest, this is sometimes the reason or the main cause that people actually have a drug abuse addiction, because they are going based on their feelings. And in our reality, we can't trust our feelings. Our feelings lie to us. They are not based on truth. And I know because our behavior is attached to this emotion, and so our behavior can also be affected, our state of mind, and it's a mental aspect, and addiction can actually really chain us up. Addiction becomes a prison, and we may like hear things or see things that are not really there. We become selfish. A drug user may become selfish and only think about themselves. When I think of this, I really think about my sister, and I really think about how drugs really have taken over her and how she has become selfish and only cares about her and getting her next hit. And her kids don't matter to her. I don't matter to her. My mom doesn't matter to her. And I really went from my sister becoming my best friend to a stranger. Like, when I see her, I don't even recognize her. I don't even know who she is anymore. Like, it's hard. So it really does affect their behavior. Overall, the conclusion, a drug-free life is worth it. Drugs affect everyone. Stay educated and spread awareness of the harmful effects of drugs, and your well-being and your state of mind are important, and they matter. Today and moving forward, you have the choice to protect your future. And I say this with a heavy heart. You have a choice to say no to drugs. It could save your life.